Hello, John.
Corey, back on the island and
We
with a
have
new
an
visitor.
infestation.
No,
Oh
you
yeah,
don't.
There's a monster here.
Do,
of the cookie variety.
do you,
We should
do you
probably
have
kill
any
it.
chocolate? Because I'm trying to make cookies. 'Cause
No.
I'm hungry.
Get out of here.
No,
Speaks.
why? No, don't hurt me. No, the pain.
Get out of here.
No.
Deal with him later. So, John, what have you been up to?
Bleeding mostly.
That sounds
Over there
disgusting.
on the roof.
Why would you? What the hell is that? You? Okay, please tell me the spires aren't made out of your blood, because that's just disgusting.
Actually, no. I went over to this volcano across the sea, grabbed a whole bunch of basalt from it, made some bricks, made it into a more appropriate-looking blood temple.
I'm not going over there. That looks horrible.
Oh,
Ew.
it's more inviting than you might think.
Okay. Well, for now, I'm going to take your word for it. Maybe I'll go visit some other time when I'm not afraid for my life or of catching something terrible. I mean, bleeding everywhere. That can't be healthy or sanitary.
That's what the blueberries are for.
Aha. Well, I've been busy too. You might notice if you come over here that there's a big brick structure suddenly over here. I was telling you earlier about a mod called Tinker's Construct. This is the first thing you make in Tinker's Construct. It's called a smeltery. And it's a multi-block structure, which means each of these bricks go together in a certain way. And then this thing down here that looks kind of like an oven cooking with some fire coming out of it lights up to let you know it's working. If you click on that, it'll give you a good look at the interface. Basically, it's a 3x3 gap in here. Don't fall in. You will bleed to death, and it won't be the kind you like. Anyway, it's a 3x3 gap in here, and in the interface you can put in ores and other materials, and it will smelt it down into a liquid process. It's also how you can actually alloy certain metals together. So, for example, what's in there right now is Invar, which is ferrous and iron. And if you put it in a certain ratio, you get Invar, and then you can dump it out into bricks or blocks or even tools, different tool parts. And you see over here there's some tool part builders and patterns, and it sounds a lot more complicated than it is, but it lets you build some nifty custom tools out of various materials. It really expands on the whole idea of custom tools, beyond just throwing some iron on top of a stick and calling it a pickaxe.
So you can create alloys using this furnace, right? And that's something you couldn't do with that redstone furnace.
That's right. The redstone furnace will only let you cook, say, a dust or a single item into whatever it would normally cook into. This lets you cook several items all at once, and it allows you to make alloys, but more important than that, it also lets you get liquid metal. And the fact that it's liquid is what allows you to make castings of certain tool parts that you otherwise
Gotcha.
could not do. The only difference is this takes a lot longer than the redstone furnace, and it burns directly through lava rather than using power. The taller you make it, though, and I think it can go up to a max of 8 high. Right now, this is a 3 stack. You can tell because it's the number of actual stacks in the top.
Mhm.
Like this is a little less than half tall. The taller you make it, the more efficient it is, because if it cooks more material, it uses less lava per item. But it's slow and it's difficult to automate, so it has a very specific purpose. But you can't really do anything else with, or you can't get that same effect through anything else, so it's pretty invaluable to have one.
All right.
Also, if you head this way, towards the end of our last episode, we attacked, some skeletons and had some fun over this way. Well, I completed the top of my tower, which I think I showed only a little bit in the last episode.
Oh yeah.
So just doing a quick recap, the top is made out of clear glass, which incidentally, where'd you go? There you are. Clear glass is one of the items that you can get from tinkerers. So that smeltery, you can actually put other items in. It doesn't have to be metal. In my case, I actually filled it full of glass and cooked it into clear glass, which you can see now what I was describing with that whole connected texture idea. You notice that the only lines you see are at corners.
Yep.
And so when you look straight up, you get a much clearer view of the sky. Also, you might notice the big altar thing in here, and this is actually for. I'll wait till you get upstairs. Hello. Um, this is for Ars Magicka. This was that multi-block structure I couldn't quite figure out last time, and that thing in the middle that's glowing is the crafting altar, that invisible block that we couldn't quite figure out what it was doing. Turns out that that's actually a common problem. It only shows up once it's in the middle of a completed structure like this.
Okay. What have you created?
Well, this is how you make spells in Ars Magicka. The base of the base material is witchwood, which you can apparently use up to like 6 or 7 different things. The book explains all this in much better detail, but the type of wood you use, or the type of material you use for the base, and these 5 caps, these are iron, which are they're decent but not great, determine how the maximum power of spells you can actually make. So this is beginner sort of maybe middle of the road altar for making spells. And I'm actually going to showcase a little bit of how the spell making process works here at the beginning here before we go our separate ways, just to give you an idea. So the spell I made last time is a digging spell. It has the it has the ability of touch, the shape of touch, and the combination of dig, which means that when I cast it, whatever I'm touching, I should dig up, is the idea behind it. Now, to do that, this book actually tells you a materials list on what will you need to throw into that altar in order to make this thing work, in order for it to actually finish off the spell. So I'm going to dump some materials in here to make some room in my inventory. And I know I need this fish, clay feather, vintium, parchment, orange rune, blank rune. I think that's all I need. Let's see. Blank rune, vintium, feather, fish, clay, orange, and parchment. And parchment. Okay, so let's go back upstairs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this book that I made, and I'm going to right-click on that altar. Now that book's there. Now, to get the book to start triggering, I need to pull that lever and throw in a blank rune into the center here. Oh.
Ooh.
And that's telling me I need to put in Vintium dust, so I'll put in one of those. And now feather. Yeah, and it makes some pretty cool effects too. You can see it kind of swirling around in there. And now fish. Oh, that's getting a little bit more wild. Now clay. And an orange rune. Iron shovel. Pickaxe. And finally a spell parchment, and
Oh.
I have a spell. Now the spell starts out unnamed, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to give it a name, which it automatically defaults to a name that you give it at the book, which in this case is Dirt Punch. And you get to pick a symbol that you can use for it. And I'm just going to go with this brown symbol. Now if I hit escape, now it should, now it exists as an item on my hotbar called Dirt Punch, and I should be able to just right click on an item. Oh, that made a noise, and actually something new popped up in my book that I don't have on me. Whoop, careful there. Where did I put my book? Uh-oh. Well, I'll find that back eventually. But apparently now that I have that, I can actually start gaining magical levels, and I gain experience the more I use this spell that I just made, which lets me unlock new combinations and new effects that I can actually build into more spells. Although, wow, it really raised my burnout. I mean, that took my burnout almost to 50% just casting that once. So they really limit you on how much you can actually cast to start with. That's interesting. But yeah, so that's Ars Magicka. I guess that's the start of it, and I guess I need to dig around a little bit to gain some levels.
So your burnout is like your capacity for casting magic?
That's what it looks like. What it seems is I have mana, which is a resource, but I also have burnout. Oh, just heard it click. Oh, I went up a level. Okay.
Yeah, I heard that. I hear music when you level up, apparently.
Do you really? Do you hear these boom noises from me digging too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. But yeah, when my burnout is high, this red bar, casting spells actually takes more... new entry unlocked. casting spells takes more mana. And so it's a way to have, basically you have to balance between not just having enough mana to cast a spell, but also having enough burnout to sustain it and keep it up. I should level up. There we go. It's level 3. It looks like it's taking more and more as I continue doing this, so I don't think I can just sit here and punch dirt, literally punch dirt for levels this entire time. It looks like it is going to eventually punish me in some regard. But yeah, that seems to be kind of what's going on. Although now I have a little new symbol, big purple symbol on the bottom right of my screen, and I have no idea what it is. Well, maybe that'll become obvious later. The only other thing I was going to point out over here is some magical crops. Earlier, you had found some essence seeds, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And that's some of these over here. I've been growing them, kind of tending to them. What's new, though, and you can just hop over that brick, are if you come over here, you remember how I said we can't make coal yet?
Yep.
Well, now we can. Go ahead and punch that. Oh, don't touch that.
Was that the Ender Lily?
Yeah, the ender lilies start biting when they get old enough, so you have to watch out. If you come over here, though, go ahead and punch this coal crop, this one that looks like it's finished. And you'll notice one of the items you picked up was a coal essence, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and hit U when you're hovering over that. It'll tell you how you use that item, okay?
Okay.
And what you'll notice is how you use it is if you put, I believe it's 8 of them in a circle with a hollow spot in the middle, it'll make 12 coal.
Okay, so coal is a renewable resource now.
Yes, you can actually grow coal. Magical crops actually is another one of these mods that gives you this alternate path to basically getting, I'm not going to say infinite materials, but it's darn near close. Just having an alternate way of obtaining certain materials. So for the most part, I'm just doing it over here because it's kind of fun and I like the look of them because they make little symbols. But it's not bad to have a couple of copies of them for some resources that are otherwise kind of a pain in the butt to get. One of the other ones that I'm making over there is dye essence, and it lets you actually make pretty much any dye, colored dye in the game, which just helps with not hunting down so many flowers and certain things.
Okay. Well, I just dropped that stuff in your chest, so I doubt I'll be collecting too many of those.
Oh, that's no problem. Like I said, it's kind of just a side hobby for now, but it's interesting and it looks kind of cool, so I thought I'd showcase it. Actually, now that I've finished with Ars Magicka, as far as I want to go with it, oh, it's nighttime. I'm actually going to dive into mechanism a little bit, and that's going to get a little complicated, so I may need some time to help prepare stuff. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to show off how you go about building stuff here on my end, probably while you go off and do whatever it is you need to do, Mr. Bleedy. But then I can show you how it kind of all fits together down the road. Basically, what I'm going to do is, you've seen our system over there that I set up for doubling our ores right now, using basically using mostly stuff out of thermal expansion. Mechanism allows me to go a lot further, ultimately getting up to 5 ingots per an ore we find. What I'm going to do is set up the next stage, which is 3 times, which is a lot easier than the 5 times when it gets progressively harder. But the 3 times one's not too bad, and it can actually be automated fairly easily as well. So I am going to kind of do that on this end, and then I can show you a little bit of what that looks like down the road once it's actually set up and ready. It's kind of boring to watch the whole thing. So that's what I'm planning on doing at this point.
Okay, well that should work pretty well in combination with what I am planning on doing with blood magic. If you want to grab a boat.
Oh, boats.
Oh.
All right. Let's see here.
Let me go. Crafting table.
That's okay. I'm just going to punch a tree. Oh, I found a boat. Incidentally, Dirt Punch can actually be used to punch trees. It is not exclusively limited to punching... punching dirt. Be careful of squids. They will wreck your boat.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you hit a squid, it treats it like a solid object and you'll just crash. Oh my god, you have creatures' heads on these pikes.